Hello, Twitch and YouTube. I'm Smoking JD. Today I'm going to be talking about my reclaimer build that I call the Competent Reclaimer. Let's go through the gear real quick. First, I'm going to go with the holster. So obviously I have to use 4 pieces of reclaimer because it makes the consumables not used and shared with the whole group. So on the holster, you're going to want armor and obviously good rolled stats, but armor is really important. Next, on the knees, since this is a hybrid build, you're going to want to have critical hit damage on them. On your mask, you're going to want skill power for sure because it gives such a big amount compared to everything else. Critical hit chance kind of compares, but you don't really need it. You'll see why later on. With the backpack, you have to roll on it, but it's still very good compared to everything else. You have skill power, again, because it rolls so high. I don't have the greatest, so you really need that. I'm also using Savage Gloves, which is why I said you don't need the critical hit chance. I don't have great Savage Gloves. They would be better if they had, instead of damage to elites, if they had weapon damage to either shotguns, SMGs, or LMGs, as I'm going to get to after. But you want the critical hit chance, critical hit damage on them. Next, the cherry on the cake, Vigorous Chest. Grants overheal to all healing skills. Really, this is for your first aid. You really need to have armor on the chest piece in any build because there's nothing that's as good as armor, and armor rolls so high. So now I'm going to go over the weapons really quick. The best weapons for this build, in my opinion, are, since it's a hybrid PvP build, in my opinion, you want to have burst fire damage so that you could actually help your team in dealing damage when it's needed. When your teammates are all focus firing somebody, if you're just shooting marshmallows at him, you're not really going to be helping. So you're going to want to have burst damage to deal a lot of damage in a short period of time just to help. That's why SMGs, shotguns, or LMGs. And the reason I call this the Competent Reclaimer is because the build pretty much revolves around having the skill competent on your weapon. So weapon damage is increased by 14% for 10 seconds after using a skill, which is great because I have high skill power, which means I am going to be using my skills very often. The cooldowns are going to be short. And this isn't a great rolled MP7. I mean, it has competent. I'm going to try to re-roll determined for brutal or responsive preferably. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure which one would be better, but I think responsive would be better. For the shotgun that I'm using, it has competent, self-preserved, and brutal. In my opinion, the god roll weapon for this build would be competent, deadly, and either responsive or brutal on SMG or shotgun. And for LMG, it would be pretty much the same thing: competent, deadly, and brutal, because definitely brutal, because brutal LMGs have the highest baked into it already. So adding extra is gonna buff your damage. Well, have really high headshot damage quite a bit. So my shotgun, ideally, I would be able to reroll self-preserved for deadly. With the gear, what you really need to have is one piece. Yeah, just one piece that's giving primarily to electronics. one piece that's giving primarily, no, two pieces giving two firearms. Yeah, just one to electronics, two to firearms, and the rest to stab. Then you're gonna need a lot of electronics gear mods. I have three electronics and two firearms. Oh, this is stab chest, that's why. Okay, I only have one item to firearms, one item to electronics, three to stamina, and then the holster. With enough gear mods to be able to get yourself at least 2,260 firearms and electronics, just so you could unlock competent. This way you could actually have very strong skill power and still be able to dish out damage. Pistol, of course, I chose the X45 because there's no other options. I didn't optimize it, so no point in showing it. For the skills, you're definitely going to need booster shot. That's the whole point of using vigorous chest. Booster shot is not supposed to give you overheal. As you can see, I have overheal, plus I have damage bonus and damage resilience bonus, which is 15% to each, which it doesn't say in the stat sheet, but it's 15% regardless of how much your skill power is. So vigorous with that works miracles. And my second skill that I chose to use is Trapper. Smart cover with Trapper, because it's more damage resilience, more damage buff, which is the whole another reason why this build actually deals damage. But you could take this off and use a Ballin Pulse, like max critical hit chance, almost on 0.8 away from max critical hit chance. I don't think that's really a big deal, but I mean, if I wanted, I would be able to go get it. Or you could use a BFB. But if you decide to use a BFB, I would think about using final measures instead of these two high ends, because you risk killing yourself with the BFB if you're not using final measure. And either way, a lot of people have have sticky bomb builds, so final measure is always a good thing to think about using. In footage I'm going to show you later, you will see that I do get not necessarily killed by the sticky bombs, but sticky bomb plus some focus fires definitely going to get me, even with all this all damage resilience that I get. Another thing, if you really want to deal more damage and you're not worried about your toughness, like, I mean, I stay alive way longer than most people with this build, and you're gonna see that if you tune into the stream, you're gonna end up seeing that on Manhunt Monday, which I'm doing later on tonight. I stay alive quite long, and what you could do is change the chest for reckless chest, and you're gonna end up doing a lot more damage, but you're gonna lose a lot of toughness. Either you're going to lose the overheal from the vigorous chest, or you're going to lose the damage resilience and damage bonus from booster shot. So it's really a bunch of trade-offs, and it's really depending on how you want to play. So that was my gear and the skills. I'm gonna get to the talents now. Real quick, I'm using triage because everybody has to use triage. Critical save is the next talent that I'm using, because when you're about to die and you have to use a med pack, it's because all your skills aren't cooldown, and it's an emergency move. So you're gonna want that extra 40% damage resilience. Even though cap is 90, you might not have the buff from. You should have the smart cover buff, but you might not have the booster shot buff. So this extra 40% will get you back up there. This kind of works hand in hand with critical save, strike back, because when you're about to die, you get into low health. Well, yeah, you're gonna want to pop your med pack, but it's also gonna cut down your cooldowns 20%, so you're gonna be able to get your heals back and everything, and get back on track real quick. Next, using One Is None. This is really because I'm using a shotgun. If you decide to not use a shotgun and use an LMG, which is great, by the way, just I don't have one that's as good, that has competent and brutal like I would like. This is for the shotgun because the reload times are so long, so if you hit a headshot, at least you get a free bullet and you don't have to reload. But if you're using a sticky bomb build, you'd probably want to change this, and maybe even change the shotgun altogether, and just put on chain reaction, which will make your sticky bomb do even more damage if it hits multiple targets. So that was my build, everybody. I hope you enjoyed.
Disavowed a division and unmarked as rogue. Be advised, all remaining supply drops will expire in 30 seconds.
You've got a bruise found on your position.
Item extraction.
extraction complete. Seconds. Seconds till extraction complete. Seconds. We've got the package.
Extraction successful.
Don't let up! This is our house!